everyone. It's been over 2 minutes. I haven't been raped yet. Maybe because I don't live in Cologne. Or maybe not. Hi, I'm Diana Davison. Now, I've had a number of people ask me why I haven't done a video about Cologne and the so-called 1,000-man rape army that was running around on New Year's Eve sexually assaulting women. This is supposedly proof of the rape culture that feminists have been looking for, and the follow-up question is, why have feminists not cared? Why are feminists, in fact, denouncing the rape army story? So, I haven't talked about it because I think sometimes it's best to let events unfold, and then you can get a better perspective. Now let me go through my perspective, and I'll start out by telling you that I think that this is a very serious issue, and that there is something of substance that needs to be dealt with, but it's not the thing that everybody else is talking about. Alright, so here's the footage that was released alongside these rape army headlines, and as you can see, now this is some distance from the area that the stuff was supposed to be taking place, but as you can see, there are lots of cell phones being used by the people there, that most of the people there, you'll see their little globe faces facing towards the square, are not engaged in doing anything other than watching fireworks. But there is a congregation of people close to the train station, but we can eliminate this 1,000-person rape army and say that we are actually just looking at a couple of hundred people who may or may not have been doing something suspicious. We can't see it from this perspective. Now, they do have statements made by one of the most physically injured women in that area. She had a firecracker dropped into her hoodie, and what she says about her experience does not match with a rape army, it matches with petty crime.
Sizzling sound in my hood, and I somehow tried to get it out of my hood. Then it fell into my jacket and burned everything. The scars will stay. I was lucky that it didn't explode. My mobile phone was gone afterwards.
Now, since these events, we've had a Canadian journalist who was actually 100 feet away from this supposed rape army, shocked that she didn't happen to notice it. And her account of events actually matches up better with the footage. Published in the National Post, Marcia Adair writes, "I was in Cologne on New Year's. There's a reason to be afraid, and it's because of other people's fear." The mayor called an emergency meeting with the police to discuss ways to prevent the area from descending into lawlessness, which it certainly isn't and wasn't. Walking through the station and the area around the cathedral nearly every day, I'd never guess it was anything other than a normal European tourist spot. That's not to say that nothing happened. Something clearly did. Common to these areas is a scam like what you encounter on the steps in front of the Sacré-Cœur in Paris. Namely, one or two men approach a woman and distract her by touching or trying to dance with her, while another helps himself to her valuables. Germans call it, I'll probably say this wrong, Anzeigen, sort of dancing upon, the way someone might grind on a stranger at a club. The next question is, why did the police not report events? They said that it was a really mellow evening and nothing really happened. This is an area of concern. In part because they then changed their story, so now they're stuck with they either lied the first time or they lied the second time. But I actually see a middle explanation, and it has to do with areas like where I live. So there's an area of Vancouver called the downtown Eastside. I live right on the borders of that, and what happens in the downtown Eastside is actually so spectacular, so disturbing, that you really have to study it to understand what's going on. And the police who work in this area have had to be extremely creative in how they deal with the crime problem that goes on. Essentially, it is the toilet bowl of Canada. It is the biggest open-air drug market in North America, most likely. And it is rather infamous for the crime problems they face. They have implemented the first legal injection site so that drug users can go and use clean needles, because the hepatitis C infections down there are somewhere around 87% of the population, and it's rampant with AIDS. So they have come up with ideas, and this is a very controversial project, one that hasn't necessarily solved the problem down there. And yes, I'm going to start talking about the downtown east side of Vancouver instead of Cologne, and hopefully you'll understand why it's connected.
So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Me or another police officer is going to arrest you, you're going to go to jail, and you're going to be deported. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
Stop selling drugs. Tell all your friends.
Welcome to Vancouver's downtown East Side.
So the problem in the downtown East Side, much like this roving band of petty criminals that the German police are identifying, in the downtown East Side, they don't arrest people when they catch them with drugs or when they catch them dealing, because these communities are generally just poor people and addicts, and they are being used as foot soldiers for bigger organized crime. So the police actually want to catch the bigger level criminals, because if they take the petty crime, the people who are doing the actual dealing off the streets, they'll be replaced in less than an hour. So the populations of refugees that are coming into all of the countries accepting them are basically creating a victim base that will be preyed upon by organized crime. And so I expect we will see lots of refugees ending up in places like the downtown Eastside Vancouver, because that is who's targeted by these people. And you can put them in jail or you can deport them, but it's not going to solve the crime problem once it gets established. So in a way, I'm kind of laughing at the situation in Cologne, because they're really just in the early stages of the downtown Eastside Vancouver. And to them, the main problem, I would say the main problem, is that the downtown east side of Cologne has not been kettled like it has in Vancouver, so that they're all contained in one district. There's a really fascinating show called The Beat, which did 2 seasons. It was produced by the Vancouver Police Department to try and explain to people what they do. And you'll see that when the criminals and these foot soldiers start migrating into areas that are tourist areas like Chinatown, they don't arrest them, they push them back into the area that they can control. So they try to keep it into an area they can properly police.
In Chinatown, it appears the police warnings are falling on deaf ears.
Do you guys live around here?
Down here on the downtown east side.
You're not in the downtown side, you're in Chinatown. Okay, there's no reason to be in Chinatown, period. You can leave.
One street over, it's the same old story.
Do you live here? Get out of Chinatown!
Around every corner,
Come here.
there are more users
Put the needle on the ground.
and more needles.
Well, look, don't say sorry to me, say sorry to these people. They don't need to see this.
So one of the big questions is, well, we've found a rape culture, and normally feminists would jump on any chance, anytime a rape happens, they start talking about rape culture. And here you've actually got multiple rapes being claimed, and they denounced the idea that this was rape culture. So why would they do that? And the common theory, I think, is that most feminists are social justice warriors, and they had to choose between racism issues and rape, and they decided that they didn't care about the rape so much. And that's not my opinion. I think that really their problem here would be if they identify an actual rape culture, they would have to focus on a fixable problem. So it's their goal to just talk about the phantom rape culture and keep it just, it's an issue of men. And so they don't want to actually have to do something specific in a specific place about a specific event. So it's really basically just an issue of, why aren't you doing something? Well, their intention was never to actually do something, so that's why they haven't responded. Now, here's my question. For the groups of people who have spent many, many years, anti-feminists spent many years denouncing the concept of rape culture and saying that it doesn't exist, why are they now out there promoting this idea? I actually find that a more disturbing question, a more disturbing result from the events of Cologne. And this also connects to another issue where there are many anti-feminists who describe this as a toxic ideology that is based on lies and fraudulent research, and then they wish this on a less developed country. They say, oh yeah, rape culture actually exists in the third world, so let's send all the feminists over to countries that are less prepared to deal with them than first world countries. That's pretty irresponsible, it's pretty hypocritical. Either feminists are talking about something real or they aren't. Pick one. And stop wishing your enemy on people less prepared to fight them. So I'm going to pose another question, just food for thought. Which country, which is well placed to help Syrian refugees, won't be having to worry about refugee problems? The answer, Israel. Now, Israel, instead of helping these Syrians and maybe giving them a little bit of space on Syrian land, which is called Golan Heights, now Israel's going to take advantage of the chaos and increase their settlements on Syrian land, which they occupy. And they have decided that it's not really helpful for them to take in refugees. Take them into Israel? They don't really have to do that. All they have to do is let them go to their own land in Syria. But that's just not going to be one of the issues. And strangely, not many people are talking about that. All right, so the main finish point is that the way to solve a problem, and I think that one exists in Germany, is to actually address the real problem, and that is that these refugees are going to be targets for criminal organizations. They're going to be turned into the people that you see every day on the street committing crimes, but the real problem is the ones who've targeted them and used them. They are essentially basically just a large block of poor people who are very vulnerable. So now for the politically incorrect joke of the week. A poll was done in Germany asking if there were too many immigrants. 7% said yes, 27% said no, and 66% said, "I don't understand the question, please."